Good morning, everyone. All right, so today we're going to look at multiplying and dividing in scientific notation. Now, I have a notes page that I'll switch kind of back and forth to, but I wanted to write on the screen, and it won't let me do that and view the document at the same time. So we're going to switch back and forth a little bit. But please remember that this assignment and yesterday's assignment will not go on the grades for this 9 weeks. So if you have missing assignments, please work on those first. Remember, tomorrow is the deadline to get those things turned in. And then you can come back to this one once you get caught up. So let's flip back over to our notes, and I will add this to your Google Drive so that you can see the notes page, but you will want to get out a sheet of paper so that you can solve these problems down here with us. All right, but first let's look at multiplying in scientific notation. So when you multiply, okay, you start by pulling those coefficients to the front, just like we did yesterday. So the 3.8 and the 4.2 pull to the front. And we combine those powers of 10 by keeping the base and adding the exponents, just like we did when multiplying numbers with exponents. So we would do 10 to the power of 6 plus 3. Now we just solve. 3.8 times 4.2, we get 15.96. The power, or 10 to the power of 6 plus 3 is 10 to the power of 9. We then will rewrite the answer into correct scientific notation. So remember, to be in correct scientific notation, our leading digit, so our digit in front of the decimal, can only be one digit, and it has to be less than 10 and greater than 0. So to do that, to make this number less than 10, I have to shift my decimal one place to the left. And when I shift it to the left, following Lars, I add to the exponent. So I went one left, I add 1 to my exponent. So that gives me 1.596 times 10 to the 10th. Okay, so we are going to look at these two problems next. So we have 6.23 times 10 to the 4th being multiplied by 1.65 times 10 to the 9th. And then we have 4.89 times 10 to the 16th being multiplied by 9.463 times 10 to the negative 3rd power. Okay, so we're going to flip over to the other screen, and we're going to look at those problems. All right, guys, so we've got our first problem here, our 6.23 times 10 to the 4th and 1.65 times 10 to the 9th. So what we need to do is pull our coefficients out to the front. So our coefficients here, we have 6.23. And since there's no symbol here, we know we're multiplying, so times 1.65. And then for our powers, our bases, we have times 10 to the power of, remember, we keep the base, we add those exponents. So 4 plus 9. Okay, then we simply solve what we've got in our parentheses up here, 6.23 times 1.65. We get 10.2795 times 10 to the power of 4 plus 9 is 13. Now we need to look, is our number correctly written in scientific notation? To know that, we look over here at our leading digit. Our leading digit has to be greater than 0, which it is, and it has to be less than 10, which this one is not. So to change that, I have to move my decimal until it becomes less than 10. So I move my decimal one place to the left, following Lars, left add, right subtract. Since I moved it left 1, I have to add 1 to my exponent. So my final answer would be 1.02795 times 10 to the power of 14. And that would be my final answer. All right, guys, so our second problem we're going to do with multiplying exponents. Again, we want to pull our coefficients to the front, so 4.89 times 9.463. We're going to multiply that by 10, keep the base, add the exponent, so 16 plus -3, which we know is the same thing as subtracting. So that gives us, oops, I don't need the parentheses, 4.89 multiplied by 9.463 gives us 46.2707 times 10 to the power of 16 plus -3 is 13. Okay, again, our leading digit up here is greater than 10, so we're going to have to shift our decimal one place to the left, which means we have to add 1 to our exponent, giving us 4.62707 times 10 to the power of 14. Okay, and that would be our final answer. Okay, so that is multiplication. You will have 3 problems like that on your assignment today. And now we're going to stop and take a look at how to divide, which is very similar. All right, guys, if we take a look at dividing in scientific notation, it's very similar, but instead of pulling the coefficients to the front and multiplying them, we pull them to the front and we divide them. And again, we're just going to follow our rule for dividing exponents, which is to keep the base, subtract the exponents, and then, of course, write it back into scientific notation if it's not correctly written. Okay, so if we look at this first one here, 3.91 times 10 to the 8th is being divided by 4.6 times 10 to the 3rd. So we pull the coefficients to the front and we divide them. 3.91 divided by 4.6. We get 0.85. For our power of 10, we have 10 to the power of 8 minus 3. So we get 10 to the power of 5. Okay, now if we look, our leading digit here is 0, which we know it has to be greater than 0. So we have to shift our decimal one place to the right. And again, if we're following Lars, left add, right subtract, we know that we're going to have to subtract 1 from our exponent, giving us 8.5 times 10 to the 4th power. Okay, so now we're going to look at those other two. 3.86 times 10 to the 12th divided by 2.59 times 10 to the 6th, and 2.4 times 10 to the -6th divided by 3.12 times 10 to the -8th. Okay, so we will take a short look at those, and then I'll show you what you're supposed to do for your assignment today. All right, guys, so we have 3.86 times 10 to the 12th divided by 2.59 times 10 to the 6th. So again, we're going to pull those coefficients to the front and divide them. And for our power of 10, we're going to keep the base, and we're subtracting our exponents. Remember, it's top number minus bottom number. Okay, so when we divide 3.86 by 2.59, we get 1 point, and this is a really long number, 4903474903. Okay, looks like it's going to be one of those numbers that repeats forever following this pattern. 490347490347. Okay, but we're going to stop there, times 10 to the power of 12 minus 6 is 6. Now we look, our leading digit's 1. It's one digit. It's greater than 0. It's less than 10. So our answer is already correctly written in scientific notation. We do not have to change anything. Okay, so for the other one, 2.4 times 10 to the negative 6th divided by 3.12 times 10 to the negative 8th. We're going to pull those coefficients down to divide them. We're going to keep our base, and we're going to subtract our exponents. Okay, so when I divide 2.4 by 3.12, I get a really long number again. This time I get 0.77692307.692 times 10 to the power of, now we have negative 6 minus negative 8. Remember, minus negative means to add a positive. So negative 6 plus 8, positive 2. But when we look, our decimal is going to have to shift to the right one time in order to have our leading digit follow the correct criteria, which means we have to subtract 1. So we have 7.692. 307.692 times 10 to the power of 1. And that would be our final answer. Now, I promise none of your answers on your assignment today are quite that long. I think 4 digits is about as big as it gets. Yep. So for your assignment today, you're going to do this edge elastic. The first 3 questions are worth the most points. They're worth 3 points apiece, and they're just multiple choice. I would like to remind you, you do have your check answer option. You can use 3 times. Okay, your first question simply wants to know which of the numbers is correctly written in scientific notation. So you're going to look, remember, to find out if it's correctly written in scientific notation, you want to look at those leading digits. You want to make sure that digit is greater than 0, but is less than 10. Okay, so your leading digit is in front of the decimal. So which of those has a number that's greater than 0, but less than 10? Okay, your next question wants to know what the leading digit is in that problem. And then which of the following is not true about the leading digit? Okay, the leading digit only has to be, or must only be, one number. It has to be less than 10. It is all of the non-zero numbers in the problem, or it must be greater than 0. So which of those is not true? And then you just have 6 more problems. 3 of them are multiplication. So multiply the coefficients, add the exponents. Make sure it's in scientific notation. Same thing here, multiply, add, rewrite it in scientific notation. And then the last 3 questions are you dividing. Okay, and make sure you write it back in correct scientific notation. It will not count it correct if it's not. All right, guys, if you have any questions, let me know. Have a great day.